Alright guys, let's take another good look at the XRP and XLM prices. I mean, we all know they're doing relatively good here and they're looking perfect, but let's cover a little bit more in depth what I'm thinking right now, as a couple of things have changed here kind of overnight. However, before we get into that, make sure you press the like button, subscribe, and comment something down below, as that is all you need to do to enter into our 100 XRP giveaway that we give away if we hit 1,000 likes. And also guys, make sure you go ahead and follow 5 Minute Crypto, my 5 Minute Crypto update channel, so check it out. No advertisements on these videos, by the way. Alright, so I'm going to be posting daily from now on. Alright, then XRP, which a lot of you guys came for right now. It's kind of interesting, the situation that I'm feeling and seeing. I've thought about a couple of scenarios, one of them being we're just going to start going down, as, I mean, this does look a little bit like a downtrend being formed, literally. However, another thing you can kind of fetch from watching the bigger picture is actually another kind of bullish pennant in the making after a pretty strange but interesting flagpole. Again, this one does not go perfectly. It's not a perfect pattern at all, even. It's not perfect whatsoever, but it does make sort of sense if you see the bigger picture in things, as, again, this might work a little bit better on like a 4-hour or so. But I can see some logic in that, and some might have a little bit of a different name for this pattern, but to keep it simple and to keep it kind of plain what I mean, I'm seeing sort of a pattern like that, even though it won't work perfectly. However, on a shorter time frame, it is definitely there, which is why I try to extrapolate, I don't know, try to get on a bigger picture here and show you guys that one. But normally what these bullish pennants mean is, you know, we break out here, and once we get to about this level, we take the long and go our way upwards. However, with XRP, it's never that smart, as every time it makes a pennant like this, it falls down to the downside, and that's kind of the risk you're taking, you know? This does not mean long, it only means long if we break out to the top side. On XLM, nothing has really changed overnight. I kind of feel as if we're just making a new higher base. So with this being the first base here, this now being the base because we didn't get proper support before and now we are getting it. But if you check out XRP, I guess, from right here, you can see it's kind of doing the same thing as XLM, right? Where it's just kind of building a new base of operation. And I just put the zone in here to give you guys some indication that right before we had to test it, we really did not do properly. We just kept falling past, kept falling by, especially the bigger zones in the bigger picture, which I do not have open for some reason. You can see it on the 4-hour here though. The bigger zones here were just kept falling back down. I told you guys about that yesterday, about exactly what is forming in this one and why it was not sustainable. Right now though, at least from plain Jane looks, it looks as if it's building up support right here, all above this Fibonacci level though. And you can actually say that yesterday was a very pivotal move and a very important one, as within the last 2 days, it went from this lower fib level of between 0.44 and 0.50 to the next one, which is between 0.50 and 0.57, up to the newest one right now, looking for another entry into our 65-cent upwards region, which again, in my opinion, is going to be coming relatively soon here. In zones, I again can't really find exactly where my bigger picture was for that. But again, everything is looking pretty damn juicy for XRP and XLM. I have not changed my mind as long as we keep support here and don't fall back down for XLM below this level, and for XRP at least below 57. Everything is still looking good. Everything is still looking juicy. A couple of the guys I talk to and a couple of the guys I normally trade with or have discussions about trading with, they say we might actually test once more the previous zone here, which again is going to be 44 cents. I've talked to you guys before about our correction not being proper enough, and that actually follows Elliott wave theory, which is a little bit more akin to what we wrote here. This one also says we should be going down to about 44-ish cents or so before actually going back up, and the lowest we hit was 45, which again is not 44 if you know basic math, and thus that won't be sufficing. The trend, however, it's still all looking good, guys. And again, the bigger picture still applies. Everything is looking juicy. I'm still relatively happy with the whole XRP situation. I'm really happy. I'm really happy to be holding. Yes, I feel comfortable. I actually earlier today also asked you guys on Twitter, what year did you first buy? And I want to know from you guys as well in the comment section, when was the first time that you bought any XRP or any crypto for that matter put it in the comment section down below. I don't even know my first year anymore. I just know I started the crypto to really get heavily into it in 2017, somewhere in the middle or start of 2017. I started to really get heavily into it because of what I saw on YouTube at the time. No, you can't buy shares in Bitcoin. I keep seeing a lot of people comment this article. Of course, they get blocked when people try to put links like this in the comment section, but they did. And I don't know if it's like a scam because I didn't press it, but they were sharing this article and writing a little bit of a story next to it. But I think there's a big misconception, by the way, which is going to change relatively quickly here, which is that you can only buy Bitcoin in ones, which is kind of funny, right? And in this case here, what they're talking about is a general scam here, which I don't want to get into too much. It's just a new scam tactic. I've already warned you guys yesterday of a ton of scams that are going around right now. But the thing I wanted to point out and quickly talk about here is the fact that you can, of course, buy every single crypto in parts. And again, I see so many people, even my closest friends, that did not know that. They thought you had to buy a Bitcoin whole. Because with a lot of stocks, if you want to buy the stock and you don't have a fractionalized, broker that you're working with, or at least a place where you can buy them specifically, those are kind of rare in comparison, you have to buy the stock as a whole. So you're going to have to put down a couple $100 if you want to buy a certain stock. If you want to buy Tesla, you're going to have to put down a couple $100 for one share. There's no way around it, except for going for like an index like S&P, which is going to be coming up soon, so you can just have a very small part in Tesla. But for example, if you guys know Berkshire Hathaway, I don't know how you pronounce that, Warren Buffett's main company, there's A and B for that stock, and the A of that stock is a couple $100,000, which again, you can't really buy. The B is only couple $100 maybe, I don't know, maybe 60, maybe a couple $100, I don't quite remember, but the A is a couple $100,000 because they just don't fractionalize them in itself. And with fractionalizing they don't split the stock. That's what I should have said. So normally, for example, Tesla had that a couple of weeks ago. They split from being 1,800 for one to just dividing it by 4 and being less per piece. You go from 1,800 and divide that by 4, which is again 450 per stock. You guys get that, hopefully, though. With Bitcoin, you can just buy 0.00. You can buy $1 worth of Bitcoin. You need to understand that. Some people didn't know. Ripple, this is how XRP can break its all-time high within 2 months. According to Credible Crypto, once more, our most credible analyst, the XRP price could break its all-time high within the next 1 to 2 months, provided that Bitcoin also overcomes its all-time high. And I don't really doubt that, though, because if we check my bigger theory here for XRP, things are looking like it could hit $2 right around December. And again, it might not be December 9th. It might be somewhere around this area, because we saw it before. If this wasn't the big dip and we saw the big dip happening somewhere over there, it could look a little bit more like this, which I drew yesterday as well. Why am I messing up here a little bit right now? I have to kind of make it perpendicular. Is that the word in English? It kind of could be looking a little bit more like this, which would mean maybe a little bit of the end of December or something like that. It just depends on whether or not we hit the bottom here or not. Otherwise, something like this is not really strange at all. A pattern like this. You might think, but Dusty, we're not at the top quite yet. Again, it doesn't follow these lines perfectly, and it will never do that. Same with stock to flow model, same with any model. It's just about grabbing the kind of lines with the least amount of error, or the ones that are closest to it. But it could also be something like this, a little bit straight, a little bit more, something like this. These are all working fine, and I can't predict it perfectly, but we can know kind of where it's supposed to go, right? Kind of. And following that theory and that idea, it's not really that crazy if we hit $1 or $2 in the next couple of weeks. And from that perspective, maybe all-time high could be really around the corner as well. I cannot tell you guys because I do not know. I know $2 is very close in my opinion. All-time high, yeah, he says it. And he's also talking about our 90-cent level, which is very strong resistance. Yeah, we talked about that a ton of times on the channel, and I agree with that one. I mentioned the minimum target for the major third wave will be around 63 cents. We have hit that minimum target, and now we can finally or definitely go higher than $1. This is the next major area of resistance. Then I'm expecting some sideways movement before wave 4, before a major wave 5th, which could absolutely extend. Okay. That's one way to view it. things, you know, as I said before, there's so many different ways you can view this one, and he likes to do it this way, we don't. But everybody has their own thing, you know. I still think that we can break all-time high relatively soon here, though. I mean, Bitcoin is already back up to 18,000, right? Let's quickly check here where Bitcoin is at. BTC is at 18,107, and it really, if you're looking at Bitcoin, purely Bitcoin, it really does look like we hit a bottom here at about 16.2, and then now start to reverse back upwards, heading to its all-time high in a crazy pace. But that's also the thing with Bitcoin, though, that these altcoins follow it up, but it's also kind of strangely feeling that it already went down $2,000. It went down 17 or so percent, $2,000 in like a day, which is a proper correction, all right? It's a proper correction, and going back up from here is not strange in the real, you know, practice. It just kind of feels strange in theory right now. It just kind of feels weird for it to happen, but it's not that strange. Then Ripple executive says the days of Bitcoin maximalism are over, and this is talking about Ashish Birla. Whatever Ashish says, I'm going to be talking about a little bit later on the channel here, because I want to go over his podcast that he made, and I think it's going to be really interesting to cover that again, like we also covered the Ripple podcast with, or no, the Brad Garlinghouse podcast with Anthony Pompliano. I think that one's also interesting to cover. This one will most likely be as well, so keep that in mind. That's going to be coming up. And Bitcoin back above 18,000 as major Wall Street institutions about to make enormous bet on flagship crypto. Just know from me, guys, that right now, whatever you're seeing, it is not retail. This is just, and I've tried to tell a couple of people, a couple of companies buying the majority of crypto. I've already hinted it now. Whales are hoarding, and it's not a joke. Grayscale, Square, and PayPal, they're buying so much Bitcoin that it's going to be very, very hard for you to get your hands on any fresh ones. It's just going to be older ones that people have already sold. But all in all, it's just going to get more scarce and more scarce as we move on here. And not just a little bit as we close into the, you know, the 21, but I mean, just literally zero of those Bitcoins being left, and thus the velocity of that newer Bitcoin kind of being zero. And so the old circulating supply is really the only circulating supply that there is. And again, the less that that's going to get as the Bitcoins run out and the companies can't buy enough, the more they're going to have to buy into the ones that people already have. And eventually, it kind of feels like Bitcoin is going to be finished, where they all want to hoard it, they don't want to sell, they don't want to transact. It's going to get finished there piece by piece. And that's really a legitimate scare on my end, where if it's in the hand of, you know, bigger corporations that are making, you know, money by having their reserves in it, they'll buy and sell. But if it's a company that is exchanging them on their own platform and just keeping them as a backing, that's scary, because that means, again, the velocity of crypto could eventually really turn to that zero number, or at least very close to it, which is something we kind of want because it will give us a ton of money in value. But it's also kind of scary because it's not going to be that payment token, or at least not that simple anymore, unless we, of course, go up so high where one Bitcoin is, let's say, $1 million, where just a very small part of a Bitcoin can already buy yourself a huge amount of things. ECB lays out reinvention of money strategy. I've been talking about this for a very long while here, but I also want to talk a little bit later here about why Ripple, XRP, and CBDCs are really something you should keep in the same sentence, because they work. But again, that's going to be coming out here. Panetta outlined digital threats, including foreign CBDC to Europe's payment and currency systems. The ECB is experimenting with a digital euro. What is at stake is nothing short of the future of money, says Panetta. And last, weekend bull trap. Traders remain cautious as Bitcoin price rebounds to 18,000. That's always the scary thing. A bull trap in this case would just mean, actually in every case, they're trapping, all right? They're trapping, and things are, I guess we can kind of see two things happening for Bitcoin here. One could be, again, we're trapping everybody right in here by thinking prices were going to be falling down. On the contrary, we could also be seeing this one specifically in Bitcoin's move as us just being trapped here at the top, and this actually showing the real move where Bitcoin is about to really fall down heavily. I'm seeing more the first scenario, though, where people are being trapped right here by thinking, again, we are falling back down just for a couple of days, and people think, yeah, the big run was over, but right now the big run has only just started. I told you guys before, I think, you know, thousands upon thousands for Bitcoin is still just a small number. At about 34,000 or so, that's, I think, where we should be thinking about. Let me quickly see if I have it open still. Yeah, look at this one, guys. This is just, somewhere that I'm thinking Bitcoin is going to be going, which is at 38,000 or at least 29 or so thousand for Bitcoin, at the very least 25,000. That's where my goals are going to be. Right, so I'm not really worried about what is happening right now, small term, short term price action. We're going to be heading there. So I can easily hold in peace. By the way, guys, make sure you follow 5 Minute Crypto. Don't forget to do that, and I'll see you guys again in another one.